The boy had been able to see demons since childhood, and because of that, people treated him differently. The more paranormal things he saw, the more terrified he became. By the time he turned 15, he couldn't take it anymore and chose to end his life through suicide. But on his way to the hospital for emergency treatment, he crossed over into hell prematurely. Though he was only there for 2 minutes, it felt like 5 years of torment. When he returned to the human world, he had already mastered the skills of exorcising demons, and that boy grew up to become the legendary exorcist Constantine. Today, he faced an especially difficult demonic case. A mother had been bringing tea to her daughter, who had just given birth, but the moment she opened the door, she was so frightened she collapsed to the floor. Her daughter was grotesquely crawling along the ceiling. They called in many experts and mystics, but none could deal with the demon possessing the girl. One priest finally invited Constantine to come help. The man simply yanked down the curtain, and the woman behind it began writhing in pain. Then he turned to the son and began selecting his exorcism tools. When the woman had a violent reaction, he confirmed the demon's master in hell. He immediately went to the bed and pressed the chosen relic hard against the woman's forehead. The demon screamed in agony as it burned, and after a violent shudder, the possessed woman suddenly went still. But then something strange happened. The demon didn't seem to have left her body. Constantine hurriedly leaned down to check on her. He immediately realized how serious the situation was. He ordered someone to bring a mirror at least 3 feet tall. Once the others began moving, Constantine rushed to a corner, tore out the room's electrical wiring, and smashed the only window. When everything was ready, he had the mirror tied above the woman's head and warned everyone not to open their eyes, no matter what happened next. He then covered the woman's eyes with his hand and began chanting a spell softly, but the man holding the mirror opened his eyes, and in an instant, he began aging rapidly before everyone's eyes. The demon took this chance to strike back, but Constantine reacted quickly, covering the demon's eyes with his other hand and finishing the chant. In the next second, the demon was instantly drawn into the mirror above. Following Constantine's command, everyone rushed to push the mirror out the window, but it got stuck in the frame. Constantine grabbed the wire from the priest and used all his strength to pull the mirror outside. Just in time, the mirror was flung out the window. The demon, along with the mirror, shattered into pieces, and the woman lying in bed finally woke up. But Constantine wasn't relieved. He had a bad feeling. This demon was unlike any he'd encountered before. Something strange seemed to be happening in the world, and the only person who could help him now was the priest. Constantine was desperate to uncover the truth because he didn't have much time left. Over 20 years of heavy smoking had left him in the late stages of lung cancer. He'd spent years exorcising demons and doing good deeds, all to avoid ending up in hell after death. But the doctors had given him a final warning, and still, Constantine lit another cigarette. After leaving the hospital, he decided to do something big with the time he had left. He bought a large stash of exorcism tools from a friend, 2 bottles of holy water from the Jordan River, a screech beetle that targets hybrid demons, and a powerful dragon's breath shotgun. To buy himself more time, Constantine got out of Chaz's car and barged straight into the church where the archangel resided. A woman also arrived shortly after, but she was looking for the bishop. As Constantine approached, the archangel Gabriel revealed his wings, but only Constantine, with his spiritual sight, could see Gabriel for who he really was. Constantine got straight to the point. He wanted his life extended. Gabriel flat out rejected the request. Even if Constantine had sent half of hell's demons back where they came from, he still wasn't qualified to enter heaven. After all, God had made that clear. Constantine was furious, and the two parted on bad terms. Outside the church, Constantine ignored Chaz calling after him and walked alone into the pouring rain. He stopped at a gas station and downed an entire bottle of cough syrup. He then saw a billboard across the street as if the whole world was mocking his descent into hell. He crouched by the roadside, coughing violently, when suddenly, an evil spirit appeared. The spirit pinned him down, and he couldn't fight back. Desperately, Constantine grabbed a stick and smashed the screech beetle nearby. The shrill sound shattered the spirit and bought him a moment to breathe, but the spirit wasn't giving up so easily. As it lunged again, Constantine dashed into traffic. The spirit followed effortlessly, but Constantine just grinned, and in the next second, the spirit was slammed into a pile of bloody pulp by a passing car. Things were clearly spiraling out of control, and to get answers, Constantine decided to visit Papa Midnight. To enter the underground bar, he had to correctly identify the card shown by the gatekeeper. Constantine passed easily, but Chaz was left outside. This underground bar was no ordinary place. It wasn't just humans and psychics. Angels, demons, and hybrid beings mingled here too. But thanks to Papa Midnight, a twisted kind of peace had been maintained. Constantine feared hell because he had exorcised too many demons. If he ended up there, he'd be ripped apart. He shared everything that had happened recently, including the evil spirit attack. Papa Midnight dismissed it all as nonsense. When Constantine asked to borrow a 400-year-old chair, he was immediately refused. Midnight had always stayed strictly neutral. As long as the balance between heaven and hell was intact, he wouldn't interfere. Just as Constantine tried to persuade him, a hybrid demon appeared behind him and taunted him about his fate in hell. That pushed Constantine over the edge. But seeing Papa Midnight's fury, both Constantine and the demon backed down. Still, fear and anger overwhelmed Constantine, and he fled the bar in a panic. As he gave up on salvation, someone knocked on his door. It was the woman he'd seen earlier at the church. Constantine wanted to refuse visitors, but Angela flashed her police badge. Even someone like Constantine, who feared no one, not even Satan, had to let her in. Angela explained that her sister had jumped off a hospital roof the day before, but something felt very wrong. Her sister had been a devout Catholic. She would never kill herself. What's more, she had talked about angels and demons before she died. Angela believed someone had brainwashed her sister and led her to jump, but Constantine was already overwhelmed, and before she could finish, he told her to leave. Seeing Angela still wouldn't give up, he warned her that suicide was a grave sin in Catholicism. Her sister's soul was now in hell, beyond redemption. Angela left heartbroken, but not long after, Constantine sensed something strange. First, the room trembled. Then came the sound of flapping wings outside the window. Something flew past the window, and sensing danger, Constantine immediately gave chase. To make Angela believe what he was about to tell her, he shared a hidden truth. Long ago, God and the devil made a wager. Neither side could interfere directly in the human world. The outcome would be determined by who could claim more souls. The wager was the souls of all mankind in the West. As a firm atheist, Angela didn't believe a word of John's so-called truth. She hadn't expected much from coming to see him, and just as John tried to convince her further, the streetlight above them suddenly flared bright, then just as quickly went dark. Before they could react, all the lights down the street began to go out one by one. In an instant, the entire block was plunged into absolute darkness. Angela was still hoping it was nothing, but John already knew something was wrong. The car doors suddenly locked. John grabbed Angela and pulled her away, heading for the only visible light source, a glowing statue of the Virgin Mary across the street. Angela finally sensed the danger. There were wings flapping in the darkness, and they were getting closer. In a panic, John ripped a white cloth and tightly wrapped it around his hand. Angela, terrified, pulled out her handgun, but it had no effect on whatever was coming in the dark. The two rushed toward the remaining light source, and just as the Virgin Mary statue went dark, John lit his lighter. The demons in the dark instantly burst into ash, and the street returned to normal. Having witnessed these hellish creatures with her own eyes, Angela finally accepted that the world wasn't as simple as it seemed. But John told her these demons were all coming for him, and he decided to help uncover the truth behind her sister's death by taking a trip to hell himself. Cold water could act as a medium to cross between worlds, and cats could open the gateway to hell. To Angela's shock, John placed his feet into a basin of water. After asking her to leave the apartment, he locked eyes with the cat. In an instant, the water in the basin began to boil, and the room's lights flickered wildly. The next second, John's soul arrived in hell. Everything was twisted and chaotic. The sky churned with endless blood-red clouds and dust. Beneath his feet, countless souls screamed and writhed in agony. John held the holy water from the Jordan River for protection, but he underestimated how much the demons in hell craved him. Demonic soldiers lurking nearby surrounded him, and at that moment, he saw Angela's sister Isabel. Her soul appearing here confirmed she had indeed died by suicide. That night, she had snuck out of her hospital room, climbed to the rooftop, removed her wristband, and ended her life without hesitation. As punishment for her suicide, she would relive the pain of dying over and over again in hell, even knowing the outcome couldn't be changed. John ran toward her, trying to stop it, but the demon soldiers attacked from behind, and just as Isabel jumped, they lunged at John. Meanwhile, in the real world, Angela had just closed the apartment door. Hearing a noise, she rushed back inside only to find John already smoking and burned. Though it had only been a second, before she could even ask, John pulled out Isabel's hospital bracelet, proving that her sister had truly taken her own life. But John knew it wasn't that simple. Facing Angela's confusion, he told her the truth about the world. Heaven and hell both exist within this space right behind every wall we see. Earth, caught in the middle, is the battleground where both sides fight for influence. Pure angels and demons can't cross into the human world, but hybrids can remain here. So whenever a half-breed demon breaks the rules, John sends them straight back to hell. Just then, Angela received a call about a homicide. When they arrived, John discovered his priest friend was dead and his protective charm had been defiled. Half an hour earlier, the priest had used his spiritual abilities to sift through chaotic information and discovered something demonic. It was directly connected to Isabel's suicide. He traced it back to the hospital morgue and saw her body there. Wanting to fulfill John's request, the priest tried to divine the truth, but with just a single touch, the hair on his body stood on end. He took a deep breath and cautiously placed both hands on the corpse. As his eyes turned white, he suddenly heard a demonic scream from hell. A strange symbol appeared on the corpse's wrist. Demonic whispers filled his ears. He reached for a drink, but no liquid would come out. At that moment, a hospital staffer entered and kicked him out. Overwhelmed with thirst, the priest burst into a convenience store and grabbed a bottle of liquor, but again, not a single drop would pour. Yet as soon as he lowered the bottle, the liquor inside spilled out completely. Unaware of what was happening, the priest began to choke violently. He managed to grab a bottle opener and carved a crucial message into his palm for John. Moments later, he drowned in the very alcohol he tried to drink. John soon found the message. He picked up a shard of ice and wiped the blood from the priest's palm. He then took a handkerchief and pressed it against the wound, making a rubbing of the strange symbol. John quickly contacted a friend and asked him to investigate the origin of the mark. This hospital was run by the Catholic Church. Angela explained that her sister had seen things since childhood, things no one else could. It had brought endless trouble to their family. 2 weeks ago, Isabel's condition had worsened, so Angela brought her back here for treatment. After checking Isabel's hospital room, John believed she must have left a clue for her sister. As twins, Angela would know things only the two of them shared, but Angela averted her eyes, clearly hiding something important. John called out her lie immediately. Angela broke down crying by the window. In that moment of despair, she suddenly remembered a game she and Isabel played as children. They would breathe on glass and leave secret messages for each other. Angela tried it and a message appeared. It pointed to 1 Corinthians chapter 17, verse 1, but Angela was confused. The book of 1 Corinthians didn't have a chapter 17. John realized it instantly. The Hell Bible's version of 1 Corinthians had 21 chapters, describing an alternate version of Revelation. The world wouldn't end at God's hands. Instead, it would be reborn in fire, under the cloak of darkness. As they drove to a bowling alley, John's friend sent over the full text of chapter 21. He also identified the strange symbol. It was the mark of Mammon, the son of Satan. According to the Hell Bible, Satan's son was tired of his father's rules and was preparing to build a dark kingdom of his own. But if he wanted to cross into the human world, he'd not only need a powerful medium, but also the power of God. Just as his friend was about to continue decoding, a loud bang suddenly erupted behind him, and all the machines began running on their own. His friend knew his time had come. After giving John some final words, he quickly ended the call. Sensing something was wrong, John urged Angela to drive faster, but by the time they arrived, it was too late. His friend had already died, consumed by swarms of flies. The death of two close friends in a row hit John hard. Just when he didn't know how to continue the investigation, Angela showed up. It turned out John had known all along. Angela had the second sight as a child too, but she chose to suppress it out of fear. To John, that was actually a good thing. Isabel's suicide was a clear warning, but Angela wasn't going to back down. She had pretended not to see these things for years, and that's what allowed the demons to kill her sister. No one understood that pain better than John. Ever since he could remember, people treated him like a freak because he could see demons. The stronger his medium abilities became, the more terrified he felt. At 15, he couldn't take it anymore and tried to end his life. But during his emergency transport, his soul accidentally crossed into hell. He was only there for 2 minutes, but it felt like 20 years of torment. He spent years exorcising demons and doing good, but still couldn't earn God's forgiveness. But Angela seemed resolute. She was determined to uncover the truth behind her sister's death. John agreed to help her, starting with restoring the medium ability she had lost. The first step, she had to remove all her clothes. She was ordered to strip and lie down in a bathtub filled with ice-cold water. To prevent her from coming up for air, John placed a hand firmly on her chest. At first, she held on with sheer willpower, but as the oxygen faded, she started to panic and tried to surface. John's hand held her down without budging. Angela finally sensed something was off and began fighting to get free. But no matter how hard she struggled, John pressed her down even harder. Just when she was on the verge of suffocating, a single droplet of water froze in midair. When time resumed, she suddenly sat up in the bathtub. Gasping for air, she noticed a strange mist rising from her body. In that single second, she had spent 3 days suffering in hell. The terrifying scenes deeply shook her. She became visibly unhinged. But then something clicked in her mind. Her left hand began moving involuntarily, ignoring her weakened body. Angela rushed to the back of the bowling alley. They returned to the place where John's friend had been killed. While John was still confused, Angela squatted down and retrieved a gleaming demon coin from between the fence slats. John understood instantly. He swept everything off the table and began assembling a new weapon. He was going to hunt the demon and avenge his friend. Luckily, everything he needed was on hand. He quickly built a powerful dragon's breath shotgun. They drove to the building where the demon was hiding. John handed Angela a protective necklace and told her to stay in the car, no matter what. He entered the building alone. The demon had no idea danger was coming. He was admiring his own reflection in the mirror. But in the next second, John didn't hesitate. He splashed holy water right onto the demon's face. The demon didn't flinch. Instead, he slammed John against the wall. As John was about to pass out, he pulled out brass knuckles and punched the demon square in the face. The cross-shaped knuckles made every blow feel like divine judgment. After one final punch, the demon collapsed completely. But John wasn't done. He pulled a Bible from his coat and demanded information about Mammon's plan to cross into the human world. The demon refused. Betraying Mammon was far more terrifying, but John was ready. He drew a cross on the demon's forehead, preparing to exorcise him straight to heaven. He began to chant softly. White smoke rose from the demon's body. The holy power caused immense pain, but the demon resisted. John intensified the chant. The demon finally gave in and confessed everything. Mammon had found the spear of destiny, the one that killed Jesus, stained with the blood of God's Son. It would serve as the key to open the gates of hell. John suddenly remembered the drawing he saw during an earlier exorcism. It had depicted that exact spear. Everything made sense now, but as John turned to leave, the demons suddenly laughed. Their true target had never been John. It was Angela all along. Her powerful psychic potential was what they really needed, and John had unknowingly helped activate her divine powers. After John and Angela left, the demon was blasted to pieces with the dragon's breath. Before dying, he saw his partner. The demon hoped to be revived, but with a gust of wind, his body turned to ashes. John realized how dire the situation was. The demons had probably already obtained the spear, and Angela was their next target. But just then, something felt off. John gave chase, but he couldn't keep up. Angela smashed through wall after wall and disappeared into the building. John could only watch helplessly as the demons took her. Sensing the urgency, he knocked out the guard and forced his way into the underground bar. This time, John didn't care about rules. He blasted open Papa Midnight's office with 2 gunshots. Papa Midnight was furious, but John didn't flinch. He had underestimated Midnight's power. Within seconds, he was pinned against the wall. Midnight's grip on his lungs made breathing excruciating. Looking into his old friend's enraged eyes, John revealed Mammon's plan to cross over. He was the only one still following the rules. Once Mammon arrived, even God would abandon humanity. Moved by John's plea, Midnight finally released him. He had heard the legends of Hell's Son, but to find the Spear of Destiny, they'd need the electric chair that had once killed 200 people. It was the best gateway to hell. John adjusted the chair and sat down slowly. Midnight poured cold water on the floor. As John crossed over, he saw the beginning of it all. A scavenger had smashed through a church floor and uncovered a buried, tattered flag. Inside was the long-lost Spear of Destiny. The moment it appeared, it radiated an ominous energy, as if drawn by fate. The scavenger walked away without hesitation. A truck slammed into his car, but the scavenger stood untouched. A mark appeared on his wrist, Mammon's sigil. 1 second later, he resurrected on the spot. Wherever he went, death followed. He was now near the hospital, where many demons had gathered. Midnight yanked John back into reality. There was no more time for hesitation. Ches melted down holy relics to craft bullets, then injected holy water into them. Even demons couldn't withstand this. Once everything was ready, John and Chaz rushed to the demon's lair, but things were worse than expected. Angela had already been taken to the hospital. Panicked, She watched a man rise from the sink. Sensing danger, she opened fire, but the bullets passed right through him. Conventional weapons had no effect and they only enraged him. Angela tried to flee, but it was too late. The demon held her underwater. Her soul was dragged back to hell. Demons encircled her hungrily. As she trembled in fear, Mammon appeared behind her. John and Chaz entered the building and split up. Chaz placed a cross into the water tank. John prepared for his moment. The demon's red eyes showed they didn't take him seriously, but John calmly lit his lighter, burned the sprinkler system, and water began to rain from the ceiling. The demon's skin began to melt. By the time they realized it was holy water, it was too late. As their power weakened, John launched his assault. One by one, the demons turned to ash. But when only one demon remained, John's gun ran out of bullets. Just in time, Chaz saved him with a shot. They quickly located the ritual site. John dove into the water to investigate. He found only dead cultists, but Chaz sensed something was wrong. The pool behind John started to boil. The ritual had succeeded. Mammon had entered Angela's body. John grabbed her and began chanting, but Mammon resisted, pushing John underwater. Chaz pulled the demon off in the nick of time. They dragged Angela out. John chanted non-stop. After some struggle, she came to. John thought it was over, but she felt something was wrong. Mammon hadn't been exorcised. He was ready to burst out of her. John held her stomach, continuing the chant. It didn't work. Chaz remembered another spell. Together, they temporarily sealed Mammon away. Angela returned to normal, but just as John felt relieved, Chaz was flung aside by a powerful force. By the time John got to him, Chaz was gone. Enraged, John prepared his most forbidden spell. He summoned the angels. A giant foot descended from the sky. It was the Archangel Gabriel, but he stomped on John and mocked him. Gabriel had orchestrated everything. He was angry at God's favoritism and wanted to punish mankind. To him, John was nothing, a bug to be crushed. He moved to assist Mammon's birth. John struggled to stay conscious. For the first time in his life, he prayed to God, but there was no answer. Out of options, John summoned the devil. He slashed his wrist. Just as he was dying, time froze. A filthy foot stepped down. Satan had arrived. Thrilled to claim John's soul, Satan even lit his final cigarette. But then John said, "Your son is crossing into Earth with the Spear of Destiny." Satan thought it was a trick until he saw John's face. He tore open a doorway and walked through broken glass. The scene enraged him. His brother helping his son rebel. He moved Angela aside. Mammon was trapped in a reflection, screaming. Gabriel attacked, but his punch stopped an inch from Satan. He had been stripped of all divine power. Satan didn't waste time. He banished Mammon back to hell. Then, he burned Gabriel's wings with hellfire. After that, he turned to John. As thanks, he offered him one wish. John asked only that Isabel's soul be allowed into heaven. Satan granted it in a second, then grabbed John and started dragging him to hell. But John's body grew heavier and heavier. He couldn't be moved. A golden light filled the room. Satan realized he'd been tricked. John had earned redemption. His soul was rising to heaven. He even flipped Satan the finger on his way up. Furious, Satan grabbed John and drove his hand into his lungs. With precise demonic surgery, he cured John's lung cancer. If he couldn't have John's soul, neither could God. Angela, now free, awakened. At the end of the film, John handed her the Spear of Destiny. He hoped it would never be seen again. And as Angela left, John instinctively reached for his pocket.
If you want more movie explainers like this, comment the next movie name. And subscribe to K.Movie.E at K.Movie.E for more. Please visit to our Instagram and Facebook page. Thank you so much for watching till the end.